Okay, it looks like the Tampa Never Sleep season. I think this is the season 4. Season 4 competition is over with, and the mighty unjust has taken it again. And there's many things to be said about this tournament. First of all, first off, just shout out to the mighty unjust. He just brings the pain again and again. Even though there's some things I'm going to question about the overall game itself and the future of Mortal Kombat and fighting game competition based games. Because the mighty unjust has taken it again in this tournament. I think we had Hourglass of Rain. These are young players. A lot of them are between 15 and 18. I think the Mighty Unjust, well, not the Mighty Unjust, I think he's relatively young too, even though I think he's in his early 20s. I don't want to get his age thrown out. But Just Nasty, I think he is literally 16 years old. The German player, Kanamani, he is about 17. Now, he didn't compete in this competition. It was Koizi, I think Rewind and Sonic Fox set this one out, and several other very notable players. Often, it's many of the same top players, and I think that's where I think an issue comes in. Because, like I say, I don't want to take any credit away from the Mighty Unjust, okay? But, I'm a big-time watcher of a lot of these tournaments, and even just a lot of, smaller streamers. There's streamers with no more than 15 to 20 people over on Twitch where I will watch them for a couple of hours, on a Sunday morning that I don't have to work or something, or just a day that I'm not doing too much of anything, right? So I'm kind of familiar. I'm not the best MK player, but I'm very familiar with the game. And here's the deal, right? All throughout, I would say the last year and a half to 2 years of Mortal Kombat 11, the Mighty Unjust was pretty much what I call your unofficial non-Evo champion. He just couldn't take Evo with Ninja, Rewind, Sonic, Dragon, and all these guys just in there. It's hard to just get past all those guys. Hans, Rashid, all these guys, just all these players. Koizi, even though he beat Koizi, it's just hard in an overall tournament to get past all of them. But if you don't stack up, basically, about the best 5 players, Foxy Grandpa, if you don't stack up the best 5 players in front of the Mighty Unjust, he is probably going to take it, I mean, there's Heroism, MK Javier. He just recently beat Sonic Fox with Scorpion. So anything can happen. But basically, the Mighty Unjust is going to take this. And I think there's a way that this game is designed that a certain group of people who have specialized or either just may be the type in which they have what I call your independent hand configuration, just a way that you move your hands. Because there's certain habits, like me, I have a horrific habit of when I jump, not jumping too much, but when I jump, I always do a check down. And some people pick up on it, and they always get me with an overhead. It's almost like there are some things that you just can't get out of your head. And a certain group of people who just have a certain extreme discipline set of subsets, if you think of the millions of people who've bought this game, isn't it really something that this same 15 to 30 or so people, this same, and I don't have time to sit here and try to dig all of them up, but you know who I'm talking about. Basically, you can just go to Combat League right now, and the season has been going on. I think we still have about 31, 32 days left. Just look up the top 50 or so players, and you could go back at MK11 right now, pop in your MK11, and it's the same guys, because whoever were the absolute top dogs at MK11 are probably still going to be ranked there right now as the best players. So you're still probably going to have Ninja Killer, Heroism, and so many of these other guys, Foxy Grandpa, Sikander. They're probably still going to all be listed up there, So it's funny to kind of just look at the game, like a whole new version, just an entire whole new version of the game come out, a complete different fighting engine, just a whole new version of the game, and you still have the same. Because if you remember, on MK11, Slayer, on Slayer's nightly tournaments, and he was having these tournaments every night. I mean, the prize pools got as small as $15 to $25 sometimes, because he was just doing it every night. But that would just be the thing that would solidify that the Mighty Unjust is just so good. If you don't have those at least 3 to 5 of the top people in the game, ahead of him, he's going to take every tournament. So, maybe there'll be a situation where there'll be some foreign players who have a better chance of beating him specifically, who can get involved in American tournaments. But it's just so funny to me. And I think more research has to go into the game to kind of see if you have, are we looking at a game? I guess what I'm trying to say, are we looking at a game that could have a certain flaw to it, that if a certain group of people overcome those particular flaws to the game, they can always be the top 30 to 50 to 100 or so people that play this game. And what ends up happening is that everybody else is about mediocre. Because often, let's keep it honest, if you look at the top 100 or so people that stream this game, I'm talking about as far as their records, Combat League, Demons, and Elder Gods and whatnot, they can pretty much just mow through everybody. About 75 to 90% of the people that they face, they can just beat them easily. There's some people who just, you don't even watch them. It becomes boring looking at them win. You only watch them to lose. I mean, to see who the hell can beat you. And then it's kind of like the chat lights up at the point at which the dude is losing because you win so easily. It's kind of like that particular subset of group, a few, I guess you could overall say, within the millions of people who bought this game, it probably gets up into 1,000 or so. But when it really boils down to it, the top 100 or so, they can just replicate the exact same thing with a whole entire new game, as they did with the previous one. And I just find that so interesting. But and I think it's something that has to be looked into. And I think that they definitely have to come up with leagues. I think they have to come up with leagues. And technically, you would take people such as Sonic, Unjust, Dragon, whoever, and you would divide them into leagues. And they wouldn't play each other, but instead create divisions where certain players played in certain divisions, and then you ended up having like tournament playoff competitions between the different leagues and divisions. Okay, and technically you would have a certain arrangement. Okay, very similar to what you saw at the Tampa Never Sleeps competition, where another player, let's say ultimately somebody is going to always come up against Ninja. You could have a set of rules that can make it to where Ninja has got to beat a certain particular other player 3 times. Like you've got to win 3 games if this person can just take one. Or either it could be you're required to win 3, but the other person can win 2. Because when it comes down to the top 5 or so people in this game, these dudes can pretty much just mow through almost anybody. And you would almost have to have a certain set of handicap rules to create another winner. I mean, just plain and simple. And I kind of like the Tampa Never Sleep rules that could have made it to where if Just Nasty could have pulled off one game, if he could have just pulled off one game, he could have won it. But hey, the Mighty Unjust does what he does. But I think that's the solution to this monopoly, if you will. But anyway, shout out to the Mighty Unjust. More videos like this to come. MK, Street Fighter, Tekken, commentary. We'll throw in some Guilty Gear and a lot of other FGC games. I'm out. Thanks for listening.